Hello and welcome back to my Let's Challenge of Final Fantasy XIII. In the last episode we were battling through Chapter 10, fighting off several types of enemies that could merge, enemies that you needed to defeat quickly in order to prevent them from summoning other creatures, various things like that. And it was a really interesting episode. We weren't doing a lot of the battles super fast because obviously we are still on slow mode, and slow is really crippling us in many ways in being able to deal with a lot of these enemies with speed. But thankfully we did manage to get through without losing any more lives, which is brilliant, and now we are here at the Chapter 10 boss, and this is scary. And as for that reason, you can see I'm testing out a new team, and probably bad idea to be testing out new things now. Normally I would still have Snow in this, but I've decided that Fang is actually going to be more helpful within this boss, just for this boss essentially. Reason for that is that obviously Fang has the access to the Saboteur ability more than aside from Snow having the Ravager ability, and I feel like Fang's proficiency as a Saboteur is actually going to be rather helpful with this boss. So, Fang has the same equipment as Snow, just the Brawler's Wristband and Tungsten Bangle, nothing else has changed there. Our paradigms are as such. We have Aggression for damage, max damage, we have Smart Bomb for stagger, we have Assassination, a paradigm I don't usually use, but essentially, because generally by the end of the game, obviously one of your saboteurs is proficient enough that it knows everything, and so you don't really need something like this. But the beautiful thing about Assassination is that in this case, Fang knows essentially all of the status ailments that Vinial doesn't know, and Vinial knows all the ones that Fang doesn't know. So essentially they complement each other beautifully, and so we should be able to get every single status ailment done in this. We have Decimation. This is essentially, once we're staggered, we want to use Decimation because then we can actually put those boosts on that we actually need in order to be doing max damage. So we want Bravery on Fang, we want Fire if we've got Imperil, which is such an important thing. We've got Premeditation, which is going to be our start paradigm because we want to get haste up as fast as possible. Haste is definitely the best status enhancement game in the game. It is beautiful, and especially on slow mode as we are playing, it's going to be even better. And we have Solidarity, which is our only healing paradigm. We only have capability of healing with Vinial being medic. That is the only thing we can do, and so that is that. It's going to be an interesting battle. I'm really not sure about this one. But essentially, I don't think I've ever completed this battle on slow before, because it's rare that you bother doing a slow playthrough because it's just, well, slow. But obviously this is for the challenge and for the extra challenge and stuff like that. So I don't think I've ever done this on slow, and it is a battle where previous strategies I've had have really depended on being able to utilise like timed things and having things at a good time and being able to have balance in that sense, and I feel like the slow might really impact us there. But what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to use this team, and I'll talk more about some of our strategies when we get into the battle itself. So we are here, having just defeated off against, I believe it was a behemoth and some imps. One thing I didn't cover at the end of the last episode is that imps. So imp is obviously a mischievous spirit, some form of just a general term for a mischievous spirit. And then you've also got the Ahrimans, which they were conjuring. And the Ahrimans are essentially, it's a name that comes from essentially Zoroastrianism. It's essentially, if you take the, I believe it's some form of Persian, it's a Persian word, and essentially it means, what was it? Destructive spirit, or malevolent spirit. Essentially, it's essentially almost an upgrade on an imp. If you think of an imp being just mischievous and just sort of almost not quite as dangerous, but then an Ahriman is actually very much more deadly and aggressive and detrimental sort of spirit. So here we go, we have our boss, we have a big cutscene, and then the boss will begin, and hopefully we can do this first time.
Rains? What? Oh, easy guys. It's alright. Rains is a Sanctum officer. He's been helping us out.
Why are you here?
put you on the path. That was my focus.
You're a sea?
Since long before we met. I did my best to assist you, as bid by the Sanctum Fal'Cie. Now do you understand? The Fal'Cie have watched over you, guiding your every step. The luck that saved you time and again was a deliberate machination. Why, you may ask? The Primarch, or should I say, Bartandalus, is crafting you into the instruments of Cocoon's demise.
We've been played for fools.
A Cocoon Fal'Cie? Why? Why? To restore the Maker.
The Maker?
The entity responsible for creating both humans and Fal'Cie. Long ago, the Maker departed this world, leaving the two races behind. In a sense, human and Fal'Cie are brothers, orphaned by the same parent. As for the humans, they forgot the order imposed by the Maker. They began to war amongst themselves for the first time in history. The Fal'Cie focused on recalling their lost deity and returning the world to its former glory. This purpose lies at the heart of all their actions. Calling back the Maker requires a fitting sacrifice.
Yeah, we've heard. The destruction of Cocoon.
The lives of this world's entire populace in bloody tribute. No, that's crazy talk.
I don't get it. Why do they need us? Couldn't the Fal'Cie and Cocoon just have thought?
Their existence is bound to the creation and maintenance of this floating shell. It is their very nature that holds them in check.
You mean Cocoon Fal'Cie can't destroy Cocoon? They needed tools.
If we can stop this by doing nothing, we'll do nothing.
Noble, I expected as much. Lied to us. What happened to your dream of rebuilding Cocoon for the people? Was it all a lie? A shadow of a dream from when I was human. It was change I craved, and once I built the influence to make things happen, there was change. I gained all the power I could hope for, but was a puppet with no will to wield it. It wasn't the Fal'Cie who changed. It was me.
You were made of the sea?
A sea, tied to an inescapable focus, a slave of destiny. I'd lost hope. I'd all but given up on dreams of freedom. What do you say? I'm here of my own accord, not by Fal'Cie order. Seeing you fight brought it all back. Brought back that future I once strove for. I, too, will challenge my fate.
What? Easy, guys.
If I can defeat you here, the Fal'Cie plan will fail.
Brains!
I will use all my remaining power. I will set you free!
Oh, I love that cutscene. I love how Reigns turns against you and you're like, what the hell's going on? Oh, it's brilliant. Okay, so here we go, the battle with Reigns, and we've got to really consider this through. So, Libra, immediately. Libra is really important. Double Libra, obviously, because we need to make sure that we have everything we have everything that we need to understand on this, on him and everything like that. So, essentially, what's interesting is because Reigns is a l'Cie, he actually will attack in many ways that you would expect a l'Cie to do so. He essentially has different phases of attacks. He has physical, he has essentially an aggressive phase where he will attack you outright. He has a defensive shift like this where essentially he is a sentinel and will essentially guard against all your attacks. And then we also have, he will also have a healing phase where he can actually heal himself. He can also cast Asuna, so that is the reason why so many of our paradigms are so built around giving buffs, receiving, putting on buffs, stuff like this. So, he's gone back to offensive shift. You will see that he will do a lot of damage. He is very dangerous, and we do need to worry about that. And obviously, we do not actually have a defensive power. We are not being defensive about this in any way, shape, or form. We are being very aggressive. So we will naturally have to be careful about this, because we are going to need to... as you can see, he does have Ruinga. He has various... So he's going to go into recovery shift here. So this is where he can gain back health for himself. He can also remove those status buffs that we've put on him. But the important thing here for us is not to lose our stagger. It's so important for us to get stagger here. We need stagger. Stagger will really help us. Oh man, okay, so he's going to go for Seraphic Ray. So Seraphic Ray essentially is big damage and really puts us in a poor position. Vanille needs to heal up, everyone needs to heal, this is not good. Obviously, he is thankfully not going for a aggressive paradigm at the moment. This is when Cura is just not quite enough. You wish you could have more. Okay, so back to Assassination. We need to get more of these D-Protects on. D-Protect, Fog, Shell, Curse, whatever. As you can see, Ashley Fang is being more successful with her... what is the situation? You are weak to... capable of inflicting daze, but you're susceptible to slow. So thankfully we do have slow on, which is really nice. Fang is currently going for Fog. Fog would be interesting if we could get it on. That would stop him from being able to use magic attacks, obviously. I would love... get his attention. So essentially, once he gets the wings, as he currently does, he becomes a hell of a lot more dangerous, as you would expect. I actually need to really watch out here. I need healing. I need a lot of healing. Thankfully, we are actually away from Fang, so whenever he uses his area of effect attack. Okay, so he's Asuna-ing. That's kind of annoying, but there's nothing we can do about that. We're going to go back to Smart Bomb here. We're going to go for... continue to try and get this stagger. Once we get stagger, we can launch him, and that is really, really useful. Being able to launch is very, very handy in this. So, as you can see, he can use some very, very dangerous attacks. Just straight up destroyed Fang there with some attacks. He will occasionally go for Seraphic Ray again, which is why we do need to be careful of just making sure that our health is still relatively high. Obviously he's not weak to Fog, which is why Fog isn't landing at all. Okay, we need to go back to Solidarity. And then we're going to need to just continue to get our health up. As you can see, we are doing a lot of damage. He is down to very low health, which is really nice. Whilst we have this chance, I am going to take this chance to essentially go back, put haste on everyone. This is... I'm considering this to be a really nice run, actually. This is going rather well. We should very quickly get stagger here. And once we get stagger, I'm hoping that... there we go, so there's stagger, wonderful. So I'm hoping... we now just very quickly go to... so now we can go to aggression. He's obviously going to try and Asuna off all of his ailments, but now we can launch him, and that is going to be it. Lovely, we defeat Sid Reigns. That went a lot better than I thought it would, actually. Only 5 minutes, virtually, which was really good. Really, really nice. Crystarium gets expanded. Slow was really helpful in that battle. I'm very glad that we chose to bring Fang.
Ironic, isn't it? The only thing I wanted was a moment of triumph. How it ends isn't important. Just do what you know is right. Trust yourselves.
What? Did he complete his focus?
I don't think so. All Reigns did was try to save Cocoon in his own way. His own way. Hey!
Where are you?
Snow! I think Reigns was searching for a way to make us understand. To understand the frustration of being a Lassie bound to a focus, and maybe what it meant to be human.
So there we have it, defeating Reigns really nicely. So essentially, Slow really helped us there. I'm pretty sure Slow was, by and large, the reason why we were actually successful with that battle. The beauty of Slow, what Slow really did there was it meant that he wasn't being nearly as aggressive as he usually is. What usually happens is if you let him metamorphose into the form where he's got wings, then he becomes really, really difficult to stop because his attacks are just constant and it's really, really, he's just so aggressive that it's very difficult to deal with him. We are going to swap back to having Snow in our team. We are going to just essentially restock with the paradigms that we had before. Which were Smart Bomb, Decimation, and what else did we have? We had, I think we had Delta Attack, and what else would we have had? I'm just trying to think. Maybe Diversity? Yeah, we had Diversity, that was it. No, we want UCOM, UMed, URAV, USWAP. Yeah, so essentially, that battle was made a hell of a lot easier because we had Slow. I think Slow at the end of that first, because he still had Slow after the metamorphosis, which was really, really helpful for us because it meant that he wasn't attacking nearly as fast, and we actually managed to essentially just maintain that stagger. We never lost stagger, which was really, really helpful as well. Like I was saying, usually if you let him metamorphose but have the wings on his back, then he actually becomes a hell of a lot more difficult, and usually that's not a good thing. Obviously it's quite difficult to stop it. He usually does it about half health, sometimes even more. I think in our battle he actually did it about 60% health. It then changed, obviously used Seraphic Ray, which makes a lot of things more difficult because you obviously no longer can, you obviously lose all of your buffs and stuff like that, which is just frustrating. But there we go. We have now finally completed that, which is really good. New thing. So obviously, in defeating Reigns, we actually expanded our Crystarium, and now you can see we have this the next round. And as you can see, these are incredibly expensive. Very, very expensive. We're talking 4,000, going from 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 CP, and that is going to be it's just very expensive. What is important for us to do, though, is to actually identify where we want to be going with regards to these. So, for example, there are some very important things to actually look for. So, we've got level 3 magic spells, which are actually really helpful. We're talking Eroga, Thundara, Firaga, as you can see there. Dispelger is actually really useful. Essentially, it gets rid of any and all statuses on your characters, stuff like that, which is really, really good. Yeah, and also, but I think the biggest thing is that I'm pretty sure there's an ATB slot to be gotten early on here, and I think that is this just here. So you have an ATB level, which essentially expands your ATB gauge by 1 unit. So obviously that's pretty darn important for you to want to get, because that just speeds things up so much. You are you get 1 more attack in per turn of ATB, which is just beautiful, really. Okay, so I'm just making sure that I max out everything that we might have missed from the levels just below. Yeah, there was stuff there actually. Just this stuff here. I like having everything maxed out, it's just nice. Saves me from a OCD. So we'll fill that out, and we can actually get the 2000 into there. So obviously, Vanille gets an ATB level very early on, as you can see in her medic thing. That will be the first thing that we aim for with her. The main reason for that is obviously because Vanille doesn't actually... Vanille is the last... I'll just tell you this now, but Vanille is the last person to get her Eidolon, which means she's the last person to get the ATB gauge enhancement because of her Eidolon. And so she essentially gets it at the start, potentially at the start of of the next chapter, chapter 11. As do a few of our other characters. They also get ATB gauge increases at the start of chapter 11, and because of that, that's really important. So obviously, Snow does get access to Blitz relatively early on in his commando, but again, I do want to find the ATB, and we do want to aim for that. But as you can see with Snow, it's literally the last thing round. So I'm thinking Blitz is actually a good thing to aim for, just to start off with. Okay, so yeah, so we're back with this team. We're ready to progress as we start climbing back up through the this arc that we've been in for so long now. And what we're going to get is we're going to get some enemies drop in on us. Just because it's exactly what you want to see. So, we're going to obviously haste in Frost. We've dealt with battles like this before. Lovely, we're doing loads. Snow is doing so much damage, this is really nice. So yeah, so other ways of defeating Cid is, I guess, another thing I was going to think about mentioning. So previous ways I've thought about, or I've wanted to defeat him, is you essentially stagger him as fast as possible. You stagger him ideally before he manages to metamorphose and gain those wings. So essentially you're avoiding the most difficult stages of the battle. And in doing so, what you can do, you can actually then launch him using your commando, and you can juggle him. So juggling is essentially when you use launch, and then you strategically time your attacks such that they land, such that they keep your enemy in the air, and then obviously he can't attack you. And then you can just maintain him in the air the entire time through the stagger, and then you can do essentially max damage through that stagger. And that's a nice tactic to do. It's very difficult though, especially on slow, because obviously with slow it's so much harder for you to actually judge your... it's so much more difficult for you to actually judge, to actually get that rhythm and actually be able to juggle, because you are attacking slower, and it's a lot harder. So as you can see, we have these sort of two-way battles where these enemies are going to have very little stuff to be very happy with us. This one's not too bad, obviously. We've got two oozes, which are going to be on low health. We've got obviously this Pulsework Knight, which is also weak to fire, which is absolutely beautiful. It's exactly what we want to see. So as with all the other Pulsework Knights of this sort, all we need to do is get the stagger, and then we'll be golden with regards to this battle. But yeah, so I was considering trying to do the juggling technique there with Sid, with this team, because the nice thing about Saz is because Saz attacks so much slower than everyone else. You notice this, that virtually every time I'm attacking, I'm behind everyone else. And the reason for that is because obviously Saz has such long animations for both physical attacks when he's using his guns and also for his magic attacks. Like, he just takes forever to cast anything and to actually fire his weapons. But in doing so, that actually makes him a really good character for juggling, because he's almost always out of sync with everyone else, which means that he's often the one who's actually keeping the enemy in the air, whereas the other guys might obviously just all be attacking at once, and then if you all attack at once, then you're not actually going to do anything in terms of juggling, because you're all going to finish attacking, then he's going to land on the floor, and then he might be able to like metamorphose, get off Seraphic Ray, do some crazy form of damage that's just going to ruin your day. This is not a nice battle at all. Obviously everything starts at half health, but those oozes are going to want to merge as soon as possible, and we can't let that happen. We need to take care of these oozes fast, if we can. If we can stop them from merging, that would be perfect. It will be difficult to do so, but actually they are far away from each other, which is ideal. We want diversity. But there's the merge. Come on. Come on, Snow. I need you to attack. Go on. Ah! Okay, we got a lot of damage. Yeah, this is not ideal. Alchemic Ooze plus 2 Pulse Whip Knights, both of which will do a lot of damage to us. Definitely not the ideal situation for us. With Snow obviously being pounded by all of the enemies. Oh, damn. I'm just trying to maximise the amount of healing I'm getting on Snow, and also trying to keep doing damage to this ooze. But obviously every time we come out of diversity, then he's actually obviously just taking hits. Come on. Come on. I want you to take him out. Yes, there we go, okay. Which is going to become a hell of a lot easier now. Now we don't have the constant threat of being poisoned every single time. So, hopefully we'll be able to zip through the rest of these battles. Yeah, essentially, you know, we didn't want them to merge. We couldn't stop it, but that's okay. Because at least we're going to live the battle, and this is actually a battle I have failed sometimes before. A lot of these battles in this section are, if you're not paying attention or if you're just not fast enough, you can fail them quite easily. I have lost haste, which is annoying. Annoying enough that I'm actually just going to get it back on me as fast as possible. While you guys can just finish him off. There we go. Sweet. But obviously getting through Cid Rain's first time is really good. He is a difficult boss. He's not impossible, as hopefully I've illustrated relatively clearly. Obviously just bits to him where, you know, if you don't have like a good amount of, if you don't have a sentinel, then you're in trouble. If you don't have this, if you don't have that, then, you know, if you're too aggressive, if you're not aggressive, I think the biggest thing with a lot of these battles is people not being aggressive enough and thinking that maybe they could just stay in solidarity the entire time and eventually they'll win. I think, you know, ultimately that, you know, that will work with a lot of battles, but so many times being more aggressive is the best way to actually make things easier for yourself. And I think once you get that, the game becomes a hell of a lot more fun as well. Like, the first time I played this game, I was very defensive. I had, like, I only had bangles on my characters, giving them as much HP as possible. I always had a sentinel in like the vast majority of my paradigms. I was really, really cautious with a hell of a lot of my battles. And I very rarely used Saz as a synergist. I was constantly using Hope because I had Protect and Shell and all of these good defensive things. And really it just wasn't nearly as fun as the second time I played through, when I used Saz a hell of a lot more and essentially used Saz for the entirety of the start of the game. And, you know, until Hope gets haste, I will probably use Saz far more. And the game is so much better for it because Saz is just such a great synergist, and it just makes the game a hell of a lot more fun when you've got haste and you're able to, in fire and in, you know, bravery and faith, and just kill things faster. And, you know, that's what I like about this game, but, you know, that's what I like about this battle system, is that it does give you the flexibility to be defensive, to be offensive, to be somewhere in the middle, and that's really cool. But anyway, I'm going to stop babbling on. We have defeated Cid Reigns here in Chapter 10, which is really good. We only probably have 2 more major sections. It'll probably be 2 episodes before the end of Chapter 10, I would think. Cid Reigns is sort of halfway, and we were about 2 episodes afterwards, so maybe an episode and a half before we finish Chapter 10. And then we'll be into the great chapter that is Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is obviously the longest chapter in the game, and is going to be a significant amount of time, but Chapter 11 is where things start getting really fun, and you get so much more variety. Your teams, you know, so many teams become more applicable. The enemies are more varied, and you've got to change your approach for virtually every battle, and that's where this game really shines and really, to me, becomes super fun. Not that this first few sections has not been fun, but Chapter 11 is a real highlight. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Enjoyed seeing me defeat Cid Reigns. I'm very happy about that. We are still intact. I think we have 9 lives at the moment. I think we're on 9, which is really nice. And yeah, I hope to see you on the next episode, where we'll hopefully get close to finishing Chapter 10. I'll see you then.